I could not be more excited because today we are celebrating my very favorite season, autumn, with 3 delicious pumpkin recipes. Last week I asked what you guys wanted to see, and the resounding answer was pumpkin. Pumpkin, pumpkin, pumpkin. So today I'm gonna share with you my amazing pumpkin spice coffee creamer, an incredible pumpkin pie overnight oatmeal, and finally, my apple butter pumpkin pie with a ginger snap crust. Get out of town, it's gonna be delicious. We're gonna get started today with my classic pumpkin pie spice recipe because of course, every great pumpkin dish usually includes pumpkin pie spice. It couldn't be simpler to put together. For our base, we start with a whole heaping helping of cinnamon, and then we've got some ground ginger, and some cloves, some nutmeg, and some allspice. We're gonna shake this all up in a jar, and then you can pretty much put it in anything. Tea, coffee, pancakes, desserts. It really is so versatile, and we're actually gonna use it in all 3 of today's recipes. We are starting with my amazing pumpkin spiced coffee creamer. Basically what I'm doing is starting with half a cup of cream and half a cup of milk. To that, I'm going to add some pumpkin puree, some maple syrup, a good drizzle, really depends on how sweet you like your coffee, and of course, my classic pumpkin spice. I'm gonna put the lid on this jar and shake it up. And the moment you think it's shaken, you can go ahead and shake some more. That really is the secret. It needs to get really well incorporated. You can store this guy in the fridge for up to 5 days. And every morning, pour a little bit into your coffee. So super delicious, and it's great if you're entertaining guests. Perfect for brunch. And I mean, since we're here and we're going a little over the top, we might as well top it with some whipped cream and a little more pumpkin pie spice. Next up is my pumpkin pie overnight oatmeal. So if you're not familiar with overnight oatmeal, here is a thumbnail, or I've left a link in the description below that explains how it all works. But basically the idea is you mix up all the delicious ingredients in a jar, shake it up really well, and then leave it in the fridge overnight. When you wake up, you have tasty, tasty oatmeal waiting for you. In this case, oatmeal that tastes like pumpkin pie. So we are going to start with some rolled oats in our glass. To that, we are going to add some milk, a little bit of Greek yogurt, and some chia seeds. For this pumpkin pie overnight oatmeal, we are going to add some pumpkin puree, and then we're going to top it with a little maple syrup for sweetness, some pumpkin seeds for an extra burst of nutrition and a little bit of crunch, and finally, some pumpkin pie spice. By the time you wake up in the morning, you are going to have a delicious breakfast that is totally irresistible. You can eat it cold from the fridge or heat it up in the microwave. Yum. Finally, I am so excited to share with you what I consider to be my all-time favorite recipe. It's my apple butter pumpkin pie with a ginger snap crust. You could totally use a traditional crust for this recipe, either store-bought or homemade would work, but I like to take it to the next level, especially if I'm entertaining. In my food processor, I've got a whole lot of ginger snap cookies. I bought these at my bulk food store really inexpensively. I'm gonna give these cookies a really good pulse until I've created a fine crumb. Then I'm going to blend in some delicious melted butter. Now I'm using salted butter because I like the combination of the sweet cookies and the salted butter. I think it makes for the best crust. You could go unsalted if you wanted to. Once this is all combined, we are going to press it into our pan. Now you totally could use a traditional pie pan, that would be fine, but I like to use a tart pan. Why? Because the bottom comes out, so it makes it super, super simple to remove your masterpiece when it's done. Next, we are basically just going to start to press this gorgeous crust into our tart pan. Once your crust is prepared, you want to put it on the baking tray and set it aside because now we're going to talk about filling. What makes this filling extra spectacular is apple butter. Now, if you're not familiar with apple butter, it is a delicious, almost like apple jam. It's beyond tasty. In a large mixing bowl, we are going to combine some apple butter, some pumpkin puree, a little bit of brown sugar. You don't need too much because the apple butter is quite sweet already. We're gonna add a little bit of salt and a heaping helping of pumpkin pie spice and just a splash of vanilla to bring out all the flavors. To that, we're gonna add some evaporated milk and 3 eggs. We're gonna give this all a good stir together and then pour it into our pie crust. And all we're gonna do is try to create a nice even layer of pumpkin deliciousness. Into the oven it goes at 350 degrees for between 40 and 50 minutes. In the meantime, while that's baking, we are gonna start working on our pecan crumble. Now this is an optional step, but let's be serious. What isn't made better by crumbled pecan? Everything is made better this way. In our mixing bowl, we've got some pecans, and to that, we are going to add a little bit of brown sugar and some flour. Give that a quick mix, and then we are going to drizzle in some melted butter. No, this is not the calorie-reduced version of pumpkin pie. This is full tilt. We're gonna mix this all together really well, and then when our pumpkin pie is just about done, we're gonna crumble this on top and let it cook for another 5 to 10 minutes until it gets nice and golden and crusty. This pie is so beyond delicious, your mind will be blown, I promise you. I hope you'll give these 3 insanely good pumpkin recipes a try and let me know how they turn out. Be sure to tweet or Instagram me a photo of what you're making in your own kitchen because you know I love hearing from you. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to The Domestic Geek because there's lots more deliciousness where this came from.